All right, thank you, Emily, for doing that. Welcome, everyone. This is Cheryl Simmons talking. And yep, Emily and Sandy are going to be watching those chat and question box like she mentioned. So again, you can use those during the presentation and we'll pick them up as we go. Today's webinar was called Tools to Tackle Billing Blunders. And that's a mouthful to say, but and it's really all about, you doing your invoicing inside a Key2Act signature for service, and whether that's a service invoice, just, like a T&M call, or if you're doing maintenance as well. We have two products that'll help you kind of reset and void what you've done, and so that you have the opportunity to rebuild that service call or to redo your maintenance invoice again from scratch. So excited that you're here, and we're going to talk through those. First one we're going to look at is VoidReopen, and this is a tool that's been around for several years and one of our most popular tools. But again, it allows you to take a service invoice that you've ran through the whole process and it's posted onto the customer account. And you may have even invoiced it or printed it, send it to the customer, and they're like, I thought we talked about not charging me for the trip fee or whatever it might be on their invoice. And you're like, you're right, let me void that invoice and resend you a new one. And this tool called VoidReopen can help you do that. You go through the regular process of voiding a transaction into M receivables like you would regular GP. Void that transaction, and then it'll ask you the additional question, do you want to also void it back in service? And when you say yes, it'll bring back that service call with all of the costs on it, so you can verify your billing, update billing if that's what needed to happen, add additional charges to that invoice, and then you can reissue that invoice without having to do a credit memo again against that original invoice and then start all over, putting in billing but no cost because you've already set the cost over to history right when you did your original invoice. So again, it just makes that process so much smoother. And again, we're going to walk through all of these tools, but we'll do quick intro on them through slides first, and then we'll get into the demo because I love to show them off as well. Next one is VoidMaintenance, and this is one we introduced probably about a year ago, where you can do a void against your maintenance invoice. And again, allows you to not have to go issue credit memos, add those to your billing schedule, issue a credit memo, get those applied over on the receivable side, and then go add on your billing schedule a new invoice that you're going to have to issue, run through the whole process again, right? It saves you from having to do all that. So again, you go in to void it inside of receivables. It'll ask you a question. Do you want to update service? And you'll say, yep, I do. And then at that point, it's actually voiding the invoice that you did originally. And you can see that it'll take it out of your invoice history. It'll reset your billing schedule as well as billing totals on your contract. But don't worry, we keep track of all that in a history table. And so you can see that, in a smart list, a SQL view, whatever you want for pulling that data out. We have a table where all of that is stored for every void that you're doing on the maintenance side. So that's cool. And then the new piece, and we are just rolling this out, is you can also void unposted maintenance invoices. You might be like, what? What does that mean, Cheryl? So let me explain that one. So let's say you've gone through the process of creating a maintenance invoice and it's sitting out in your maintenance invoice batches, right? They're sitting out in your receivable batches, maintenance, and then there's a number behind it, right? XXX. Well, you have the ability to go into that batch within receivables, pull up that batch, and then there's some new options where you can go ahead and choose to remove invoices. Brings up a window that will display all of the maintenance invoices in that batch, and you can pick and choose which one you want to remove. And again, same philosophy of it's going to go back and update your service billing schedules, your service invoice histories. All of that data will be updated just like the posted void maintenance, but unposted void maintenance will be doing the same type of a backup, but it just wasn't posted on the customer account. So you're going to start it in a little different spot. And again, that might Might not make sense till we walk through it, but I just wanted to give you a heads up of that's how this one will work. Okay, and Emily and Sandy, I'm going to stop there for just a second and make sure before I flip over that we don't have any questions.
Nothing so far. I
Yeah,
think
so
people
far
are
we're
probably
looking
waiting
good.
until they see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, don't be shy if you have a question, guys. We're here monitoring that for you.
Absolutely. Yep. And so I'm going to switch over to GP, and for Sandy or Emily, just making sure, can you see my GP screen?
Sure can.
We can.
Okay. Not my mail or anything else. I'm just
Target shopping cart. No, just kidding.
yeah, what I've been looking at over lunch. I'm just kidding. All right, well, let's take a look at Void Reopen first. And I'm going to start out here on a service call. And this one is closed. I've actually invoiced this one. So I'm just going to go into history here and pull up the service invoice. All right, so this one, like I said, I've already posted it, but I just wanted you to see what was on this particular invoice when I did it the first time, as I guess I'll call it the first time. All right, so let's go ahead and close up those windows, but we can see a subtotal here of 1860. We got some equipment, some material on there, and I'll close that because I wanted you to see it before I go through the void process. So let me go ahead and bring up the void window. Now this is just all part of receivables here, the receivable posted transaction window. And I'm gonna put in that customer. I don't know if you guys were looking, but it was customer 201, right? I won't quiz you, there won't be a quiz. For the document, it was 169, because I did take some notes here. So I gotta look at there. We'll bring that up. Again, it's the void date, posting date, all the information that receivables is going to need, because we are going to update receivables which will ultimately update general ledger and void this transaction, just like a regular void in receivables. So let's go ahead and click void. And here's the question: do you wish to re-invoice the service call? So all depending on how you answer this question. If you say yes, then we're going to update service and reopen that service call and void the invoice originally that you did. If you say no, we're not going to touch anything that you did in service, which would mean you just want to void it in receivables and general ledger, but leave what was done in service. So we are going to say yes, because that's the power of this tool. You should print these, but demo, we're going to say no. And there we go. We have the service call that it opened back up on my window here, showing it in a complete status. And then if I go into invoice, and I'm going to say new, you'll notice those costs are back in here. Remember, equipment and material, the 1860, I think I had mentioned earlier that you're seeing here for a subtotal. And then of course we have tax on here as well. So it brings all of that data back here for you. And again, then whatever you needed to do, if you needed to add a transaction to it, change the billable amounts, you can do that. So that, again, just makes it great, right? Where you can move forward and do another invoice. But you may have said, okay, so what happened to the other one? Where did that go? Well, let me go with the history. I'll go this way. So 169, which was our service invoice, right? You'll notice has the word void in front of it now. And that means it's went through the void process, right? And you're like, yep, okay, but the dollar amounts went zero. That's okay, that's expected. Inside of here, of description, it will have exactly what was on there from a totals perspective for cost and for billable, so you can see that. And again, we zeroed it out because if you're printing reports coming out of the invoice table, it really was zero because you voided it, right? But we don't want to get rid of the detail information, so we store that in description. So again, from a reporting perspective, you can still see those voided invoices on your reports. And again, you would start brand new here with service invoice 170, and away you go. So very cool, fun stuff that you can do those things. And I'm going to switch over to the void maintenance, but Sandy, Emily, how are we doing? Questions?
We're still good.
Yeah, still looking good.
All right. let's go back to that receivable. Do I have, whoop, I lost my GP. Sorry, guys. I'll go back over this way. Going back into posted transactions. So again, we're going to do void maintenance this time around. And we're going to start in the same place in receivable, though, if it's a posted transaction that's hit receivable and general ledger, right? So let's go ahead and get our lookup window. And let's see, it should be invoice 168. And we're going to click void here. Now this question is just a little bit different here. It says RM void up on top. But if you want to void in service management, and this is the question the maintenance side is going to ask you. So again, if you say no, it's only going to update receivables in general ledger, just like regular GP code works today. If you say yes, with our tool loaded here, we are going to update service. So we are going to go take a look at that. And we'll posting journals. And let me pull up service here. That was customer 303. In the main office, and we got contract 45. And there is one expired and one that would be new. So let me bring up the new code. I got the contract that's expired. Thought I got the right one here. There we go. Drill into our contract. And let's go in and take a look. I'm gonna jump right into invoice history, because you will notice here that service 0000168 is no longer here because it was voided, right? It reset it. And I don't know if you guys caught the date of that transaction, but it was for March. So let's go into our billing schedule. And so we're gonna see here that that March transaction has been reset. It doesn't show that it's been posted anymore, where previously it had been posted. And so this again resets everything on your billing schedule, resets it from a invoice perspective so that you can now, if I needed to change the dollar amount and redo the invoice, I could do that. And again, all of that is stored inside of the void table that we talked about, the IS void 564 table, as well as you can have a smart list that pulls that data as well. And so let me I'll show my smart list now. Go down here. And we have a smart list that we can give to you to load up or help you with the view that we have created that just pulls in this data and take a look at. As you can see, we've done a few of them today, or not today, in our testing, but we got, I think, contract 45. So let's scroll over here. I think it automatically puts in all the fields. And again, as you guys know, smart list, you can pick and choose of which fields that you would want to have on your smart list. But yep, there's that 137.50. It was on March 1st. So you can see all of that data. And I'm just going to scroll to the end here for a second, because this is all of the fields that are in that 564 table normally. But the one thing for here, IS created date, is this is actually telling you the dates that they were voided. So this is the day that you're voiding inside of the system, but IS created date is actually, obviously using today, January 26, 2022. So good, useful information from an audit perspective of who is doing the voiding, when are they doing the voiding, those type of things. So great information to have on hand. Emily and Sandy, are we still okay?
Just one question.
All right.
How does it work for security to these, since they don't have their own windows?
Oh, good question. So like from the voiding perspective, I've been going into the sales receivable here, into the posted transaction. So if they have access to this window, then they would have the ability to do the void for service.
Very cool, thank you.
Yep, and this is a GP window that would have security, regular security to it. Okay. Anything else on questions or comments?
Oh, that's it for now. Thanks.
You're welcome, because I got one more to go. And this one is the new one. So this one's brand new, just rolling out as part of Void Maintenance. Let's go in and take a look. And I'm going to bring up actually the service contract here before we get too far into it. Let me clear this one. And let's see here. Trying to remember which contract I used for this one. And if I don't remember, I can always jump in and take a look at the document as well. So let's go to the billing schedule here before I void this one. And let's take a look at the one that was done here on February 1st, right here. Does everybody see that one? 2027. Am I on the right? Make sure I got the right one in front of me. And let's go into the billing, the invoice history here. And let's see, do I have the right? I want to make sure I have the right one. Let's pull up the batch and we'll look at it, because I do have a few that I've been testing and working on. So I'll show you the new one. So if I go in here and I'm going to pull up my maintenance batch, and I do have a few of them out here. So I'm going to pull up maintenance 86. And you'll see I have one transaction here. So I will print the edit list so you guys can see this, so we can see which one we're looking at. And of course, it's on the other one. Here, let me bring that over. Here's the other monitor. All right, so this was a scheduled payment 29 that was done with the document date of 2/1 of 2027 for customer 205. So I got 205. Gotta make sure I have the right one. Okay, I'll close that up. So then here, I'm gonna go ahead, go under additional and do remove maintenance invoice. And of course, yep, that's on my other window as well. Let me bring that over here. So what's happening here is this particular batch of maintenance invoices. So everything that was listed in there. And so right now I just have one transaction in here, but let's say you had 5 or 10 invoices inside of this batch. It will list all of your maintenance invoices here. And again, these have not posted to receivables yet, but you have generated them from the service module, right? So they're sitting in receivables ready to post. And so you can't use the void that we just went through for void maintenance and void reopen, right? Because they're not posted onto the customer account. But here, what you can do is actually remove them from this batch. And by doing that piece, you're also, so they won't post to receivables, right? Because if you remove them out of the batch, but as well as it's going to go back and update all of your service invoice tables, I should say your service maintenance tables. So it's going to update your billing schedule, update your invoice history information, as well as update the void table as well and put the information in there for the void. And it's really easy. And this is one where, again, having access to the receivables batch entry window from a GP security perspective, that's the only way you're going to be able to get to this additional option in order to do the process here. So kind of keep that in mind when you're doing your security for these new tools. So all I would do is select here and click process. And it's going to do the same thing that we just talked about for the void maintenance, where it updates your billing schedule, the invoice history information. It's going to take it out of there and move it into that new ISV void 564 history table and show up on the smart list that I just showed you. So very cool. And this is all part of void maintenance. You get both for posted and unposted. So if you are a current user of void maintenance, we'll be reaching out and get you the new tool, as well as if you're on the webinar today, let us know if you want the new tool in place and we'll get that to you so that you could do both void maintenance for posted and void maintenance for unposted maintenance invoice. So again, real cool, all for the same one tool. Questions on any of that?
No other questions at this time.
All right.
These are such cool tools.
Yeah, Sandy does our testing for our tools, and so she's very excited when we get to roll out new tools. And so fun to see.
Yeah.
So those are the tools I wanted to walk through today. And again, some have been around for years, and customers have been using them for a long time and love them, and others are brand new for us. And so as always, we always appreciate feedback as well when we talk about our tools. And so if there's things that you're like, oh, I wish it did this, or, have you thought about creating a tool for, something like this that I run into? We love to hear that feedback. Both Sandy and I do. So feel free to drop us an email or send it through the support box too. They can be routed to us, or the sales box as well. But today was Void Reopen and Void Maintenance. And again, any questions you have on those, just send them through now, or afterwards you can send them through the sales route here too at sales@iscorp.biz, and they'll get routed over to us so we can get you an answer as well. So this was wrapping up, but again, is there any other questions or comments we need to answer before we let people go?
No, I guess we can give them 5 minutes or so back if there aren't any questions.
All right, Emily, how about you? Got anything before we wrap up?
You know what? Just a great big thank you, Cheryl, for demoing these tools for our attendees and explaining things in such a clear, concise way. And Sandy, for being here as well. We love our customers and clients, and I think that this is just a great way to help them with billing blunders, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, all fun. We love it. We love doing it. So again, questions or anything, keep them coming, guys. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the day. And if you have other tool ideas, again, send those in as well. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Great. Thanks again. Thanks everybody for coming. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.